Good afternoon to everybody, and welcome to this first of a series of webinars. And today I'm going to talk about the clustering approach to agro-enterprise development. Maybe just a little background of this clustering approach. This is an approach which was started by an alumna of College of Agriculture from Xavier University. Her name is Joan Uy. Shout out to Joan Uy. She has been very instrumental in trying to develop this model for agro-enterprise development. And until now, it is still being used by several groups, especially the Jollibee Foods Foundation and the Department of Agrarian Reform. Okay. Now, without further ado, I would like to move into my PowerPoint presentation. I would like to ask for a share screen. By the way, Joan Uy still works with Jollibee Foods Corporation, Jollibee Foods Foundation as a consultant. Okay. And he's still trying to even to develop further this technology. And there are now a lot of groups that are embracing this approach, especially the agrarian reform beneficiaries. Okay. So let me begin my presentation with this clustering approach to agro-enterprise. Again, I am just one of those people who are advocating this clustering approach to agro-enterprise development. We have tried it and it worked. It worked in many places, in many places, but it didn't work in other places. But nonetheless, this is still a promising model towards developing agro-enterprises. And when we say agro-enterprise, we are actually within the context of entrepreneurship, because it is an enterprise. So this is something about entrepreneurship. An entrepreneurship, there are at least 4 characteristics there: to create value, to be able to use resources, whatever we have on hand, and to be able to exploit opportunities. Okay. And most of the time, in terms of entrepreneurship, it's really the innovation. Okay? Entrepreneurs are characterized by at least these 4 attitudes, these 4 values, which the more successful ones are able to really push the frontiers of their businesses, so much so that they become really very successful in terms of what they are doing. Innovation, exploiting opportunities, creating value, and making do with what we have. We cannot dream of so many things, but whatever is there, we can use up. Whatever our resources, available resources, we can use. This is really something to consider in terms of entrepreneurship. And on a greater perspective, when we say agro-enterprise, we are within that larger concept of social entrepreneurship. Social entrepreneurship because there is a business motive, and at the same time, there is a social purpose. The social purpose there is For agro-enterprise, we are dealing with small farmers, and we are dealing with the common good of these small farmers. And most of the time, we want small farmers to be uplifted from their situation of poverty. We want them to create wealth so that there will be improvements in their lives. And eventually, when we are able to make changes in the lives of so many people, that there are changes also in the society. Small farmers, especially, they feel they don't have that dignity. Whenever you ask the farmers kung unsa ang inyong trabaho, they would say, mag-uuma lang. Medyo sakit paminawon. It pains us to listen to their stories, and then they will just say, mag-uuma lang. I am just a farmer, as if a farmer is someone at the margins. And yet, our own experience with the pandemic, the farmer is, in more ways than one, they are in the frontliners because they are the ones who are providing food. Okay? But that's their feeling. Part of agro-enterprise really is to be able to empower our own small farmers to bring back that dignity that they have lost along the way. Also, on the other hand, we have it's not just for common good. It's not just for altruism, but there is a business motive there. Market. We need to create wealth. We need to create wealth, and we are going to figure out what is the best product that we can market to our buyers, and to innovate in whatever way so that we will become even more efficient in our own dealings with the markets. And this is really the greater context here is the social entrepreneurship. And that's why when we say agro-enterprise, I just want to make it simple. It is dealing with small farmers and transforming the small farmers into business people. We may not be able to successfully do this, but at least we are going to transform how they view their own production systems. Before, it is just something like I produce and produce, and then I consume what I produce, and the surplus I bring to the market. That's subsistence agriculture. For agro-enterprise, it's going to be different. There is a business aspect to it. When we produce, we want to create wealth. And when we produce, we want to market it. And it will be in such volume that we are able to realize revenues. And that's why for me, it's agro-enterprise. It's really dealing with small farmers and transforming the small farmers from subsistence agriculture into entrepreneurial agriculture, something that really involves business and the business acumen that will be required from our own small farmers. Okay. So for agro-enterprise, this is really a new approach. What we have been doing in the past since 2008 is we are going to organize our small farmers so that our small farmers would be able to face up to the big markets. Traditionally, our small farmers, they produce and then they just sell their produce to the spot market. In Cagayan de Oro, we have Bulwa. Okay, it used to be Agora. Now it's Bulwa. Whatever they produce, they bring it there. But for agro-enterprise, because we're going to transform our small farmers into organized clusters, into organized individuals, we want to hit the big markets. Okay? And our experience would tell us that this is possible. This is a possible endeavor, and this could be sustained in many ways. So this is our new approach. Our small farmers, we are going to organize, and we are going to bridge them, to connect them to big markets, because the big markets are really the ones who are able to churn out revenues for the small farmers. Again, it's before, the focus is so much on production. It's production, production, and production. But this time, it's for agro-enterprise, the whole chain, the whole value chain will have to be considered. Where can we create value along the chain? Along the chain, how much sales we will have to generate? How much income should we realize? How much investment are we going to put in this kind of an endeavor? So from a simple production, produce and then sell whatever you have produced, the value chain approach is really, it's taking into consideration what the markets need and what the consumers actually need, and then go back to production. For instance, right now, what the consumers want are, let's say, for instance, talong, the eggplant. The eggplant, they want the long eggplant. They don't like an eggplant which is circular, which is round. But long eggplant and then straight eggplant, and that's why if we have farmers with crooked eggplant, they are rejected. Okay? Because consumers want a long eggplant and shiny purple eggplant. Shiny purple eggplant. Meaning to say, if this is what the consumers want or demand, our farmers will have to plant something of the variety in which it is long, and it will have to be shiny. It will have to be purple. It should look good. Okay, that's really in general terms the value chain approach. No, it's you try to create this whole series of activities so that you are able to capture the value along the chain. Okay? So this is part of the agro-enterprise. We are going to transform the small farmers and put them in a situation where they are going to engage in the markets through the value chains. Through the value chains. So again, it's a shift of focus from production to markets. The markets become a very important part in the decision making, what the consumers need and what the demands of the market. The market. It used to be this is the vegetable market chain. Our farmers, they will just sell to the agent or to some buyers, and then the buyers will assemble them, and then the assembler will go to the trader, and then it goes to the wholesaler. For agro-enterprise, we want to shorten this market chain, that they are able to produce and then sell to the wholesalers and institutional buyers. That's what we are really dreaming of. That's what we are really trying to focus on and to really exert our energies, that our farmers would be connected not only to the agents, to the assemblers, and to the traders, but also so much more for the wholesaler and the institutional buyers. Okay? Because our institutional buyers, they really give a higher price than the traders. You have heard of so many stories, for instance, in terms of the transactions in the spot markets. Some of our producers in Bukidnon, for instance, when they go to Agora or when they go to Bulwa, and then the price of kamatis, of tomatoes, has gone so low that they are not going to harvest anymore their kamatis. Okay? They just allow them to rot, or you don't have to harvest them, because when they harvest, they still have to spend a lot for the harvesters. So ang uban gailabay na lang sa dalan. Okay? And also the case of carrots, Sometimes you see carrots being dumped along the road because the spot markets are not able to absorb the produce. And that's really the traditional markets. What we are envisioning is really for agro-enterprise that our small farmers will become organized farmers, and they will be dealing with consolidators, with processors and supermarkets. We are hoping that this will happen, that it is the small farmers themselves who are able to capture the value that is in the market chain. And the consolidators, processors, supermarkets, they're also the ones that really give higher returns for our own small farmers. I will try to stop here. And let's watch a couple of videos that started in 2008. And another video, the second video, started in 2011. Okay, this is really the birth of the clustering approach to agro-enterprise development. And Ma'am Joan Uy of the alumna of College of Agriculture of Xavier University has been very, very instrumental in the promotion of this. I'm only one of those who supported her, and also I myself tried to learn what is the clustering approach all about, and proceeded to really study it, and I eventually made it part of my dissertation for my PhD studies. Let's watch and listen to the first video, which is actually the video produced by the Jollibee Foods Foundation. It started in 2008. The video was produced around 2010.
In the fields of San Jose City, Nueva Ecija, the day starts early for Arnold Dizon, one of the many farmers supplying bulb onions to Jollibee Foods Corporation, or JFC. These days, he is finally reaping the fruits of his labor, a huge improvement from the difficult life he had previously led.
Panapanahon lang din ang presyo. Hindi po pare-parehas. Minsan tataas, minsan bababa. Kung nasubukan na namin yung tatanim kami ng produkto, wala namang bumibili.
While farmers like Arnold were hard-pressed for demand for their produce, JFC was in constant need of a reliable supply of quality ingredients. As the corporate social responsibility arm of JFC, Jollibee Foundation bridged the gap to form a new type of partnership.
The Bridging Farmers program came about after a period of strategic planning as early as 2007. And so based on that strategic planning, we look at our business and we look at what can we do to have the most impact. We chose this project as one of our key priorities.
Collaborating with the Catholic Relief Services, or CRS, an international organization that provides technical support to farmers, JFC launched the Bridging Farmers to the JFC Supply Chain program in 2008, which evolved into the Farmer Entrepreneurship Program. CRS, with the support of the local government unit, gathered interested farmers and helped them develop their own enterprise plan using the clustering approach.
Small farmers are not used to signing contracts and delivering to big companies. And what the 8-step approach does is walk the farmers through the process of finding the right product to supply, how to farm it, how to bring it to market, and how to meet the buyer's expectation.
Nabuo po yung 30 barangay. Tinanong namin kung willing silang pumasok sa Jollibee. Kung nga po, pumayag naman sila lahat. At ang problema nga pong una nun, paano kami papasok, saan kami kukuha ng puhunan?
With the National Livelihood Development Corporation, or NLDC, getting on board the program, financial aid came from an accredited microfinance institution called Alalay sa Kaunlaran Incorporated, or ASCII.
One of the biggest challenges for this project was making microcredit available to farmers, and there's a lot of reluctance among microfinance institutions to lend to small farmers. They see them as a big risk. But with our partnership with NLDC, we've been able to kind of defray that risk a bit, linking them to markets like Jollibee with fixed contracts, and having access to low interest loans really helps the farmers get away from that cycle of debt.
The San Jose farmers formalized their cluster as the Calasag Farmers Producers Cooperative. With training experience and financing support, they proceeded to their first test delivery to JFC, which also became a test of their character.
Hindi po namin nakumpleto yung 60 tons.
Bakit po?
Gawa nga po nun nagkaroon ng problema. Tapos marami pong na-reject. Sinabayan pa po ng ulan. Yan po unang pagsubok namin yun.
Both of us are also learning. So you just keep on trying and trying until you get to the right combination.
Learning from their mistakes, the farmers attacked their second delivery with renewed vigor.
Binigyan po kami ng volume na 197 metric tons. Kung nakisama nung po panahon, lahat po yun na ibuno namin. Lumampas po kami ng 235 metric tons.
With the farmers' increase in confidence, they approached the Department of Agriculture for post-harvest facilities, which allowed them to meet JFC's demand for increased volume. Soon, Calasag was also supplying peeled onions, which sold at a higher price and created jobs for other barangay members. Gradually, the farmers' hard work paid off, with their gross income increasing by more than 100%.
Meron din pong iba nakabili ng mga sasakyan at yung ibang mga alas nila, natubos na rin nila sa mga pawn shop.
Indeed, change went much deeper for these farmers as they learned the importance of management and professionalism.
Tulad ko sa isang mahirap na magsasaka, ay nasusubukan kong nakikiharap sa mga matataas na tao, nakikihalubilo. Kaya po yung mga apat na ahensya rin, hindi ko naman kilala yung mga yan.
But this success story does not have to end with the Calasag farmers. To create a much bigger impact, the small farmers need more companies to open their supply chains.
What came about that we didn't expect from this project was that this opened up a lot of new networks. There was a lot of interest generated. It gives some momentum to the farmers and also to the project that we want to see this model work in other places.
What we are offering in the Jollibee Foundation is a model that could work and that could be an example for others. Work with us, work with the farmers, and this could become a big development in the agricultural sector.
Wala kami sa kinatatayo namin ginhawang ganito kundi dahil sa apat na ahensya na yan. Sila po ang parang bumuhay sa amin na magpanibagong buhay ka.
The Farmer Entrepreneurship Program, creating a momentum of change, transforming small farmers to become successful entrepreneurs.
That's the Calasag Farmers Cooperative, and they are still existing right now. From an initial membership of around 40 individuals, 40 households, 40 farmers, they are now more than 100. And from the beginning, it was only 60 tons, and as the video would show, hindi nila naabot yung 60 tons. Later on, it became 200 tons, more than 200 tons. The last time around that I talked to them, they were saying 600 tons, meaning to say 600,000 kilos of deliveries to the Jollibee Foods Corporation. In initial experiences of the clustering approach to agro-enterprise development with the Calasag was that karamihan sa kanila nagkaroon na ng motor. That was in 2012. Okay, that was in 2012. Nagkaroon ng motor. Meron pa ngang ilan doon, nagmamayabang sila na, Father, nandito yung aking Android, katas ng sibuyas. I felt happy listening to them that their lives have been changed by the project, by the approach. 2018, when I met them again, I asked them, so ano na ang nangyari sa inyo? Ano na yung katas nyo? Sabi nila, Father, ang iba mayroon ng bahay. Father, ang iba mayroon ng truck. Hindi lang motor, mayroon ng truck. So those are palpable changes in their lives. Just imagine for a single household farmer, if the farmer is able to market 20 kilos of onions to Jollibee Foods Corporation at a higher price, this is almost a windfall gain. And they have been experiencing that year in and year out since 2008. And their lives have changed. But what was very important in these people, they remain humble. They remain farmers and wanting to teach other farmers the ways and the successes that they have achieved. Okay. That was in 2008. In 2011, the same technique, the same model, okay, the same way of proceeding was started in Bukidnon to be able to pilot in certain areas in Bukidnon. Let us listen to the let us watch and listen to the second video, which is really now a project of the DAR, the Department of Agrarian Reform, and the Catholic Relief Services. I came back from the US in 2011. I was immediately plunged into this project. I was one of the movers in this project, and we have trained several people from the Department of Agrarian Reform, and they have been continuing on with their projects until now. So from a simple beginning in 2011, trying to pilot the clustering approach to agro-enterprise development, it has now been accepted and implemented in many areas in the country. And Department of Agrarian Reform has been spearheading this activity all over the country. So let us now listen to the second video.
The province of Bukidnon, being the 8th largest province in the country, is situated at the central part of northern Mindanao. Covering an area of 829,378 hectares, the province's terrain is characterized by deep ravines and thickly forested mountains. Aside from its rich agricultural produce, the people of Bukidnon treasures most the rich culture passed on to them for generations. Bukidnon has for years been at its struggle to level up with today's modern world. For now, majority of the municipalities have their own share of development. Despite of this, what has been left behind are new ideas and practices in farming, which majority of them are engaged in. In the fields particularly of Sumilao, Impasugong, and Malaybalay Bukidnon, under the scorching heat of the sun and the crisp air, another day of hard work and back-breaking tilling starts for Mang Junjun, Mang Nonito, and Mang Tudosyo, as well as their fellow farmers. After how many months of toiling, cultivating, plowing, guarding, anticipating, and not to mention the pieces of sacrifice they've poured into the crops, the farmers of Bukidnon will finally reap the fruits of their labor.
Lahi ragid kayo kay sa karon sa una mais ra gid among tanom o kining kasaba. Ang mais mo tanim mo siya og mga 100 days kaya ka morbis nya dayon wa kanay gihulat nga aning gitawag nilang consignment mga imong inadlaw-adlaw bitaw nga panginabuhian. Una nga ang among abutanan bisag imong kalay kuan ginan sa harot na namo kaon pag harvest wa na. Una gitawag dai sa among overdraft. Murag lisod gyud halos gani di makapaeskwela sa among mga anak.
The CRS-DAR partnership project have indeed given hope to the farmers in areas covered by this endeavor. With the government's meager budget, particularly allotted for agrarian reform areas, farmers are at a loss where to gain sympathy and support in marketing their produce.
This partnership came at the point where DAR has changed its strategy in terms of assisting the farmer beneficiaries. Before, we're having it on the production level, but this time in the market-oriented approach.
We are going to help them increase their incomes by shortening the value chain, by connecting directly to the market buyers, which are high value markets.
Sa kita pagkakaroon mas dako nagkalainan karon kaysa una babagi kayo mong kasauna o karon try ding mga talong aliya saksi man na kaduha mi mag-harvest man kato pa kung inadlaw-adlaw ng sigutan di ka mo dag piso kay naa magay imong makita kada tulok adlaw.
So na panahon amo pong panginabuhi di bahin sa amo uma kuan lang jud iya lang jud ug kinsay ug asa ka magapabor dito ka baligya dito imong pinanser.
Proven often enough, agricultural development is neither a one-man show nor an overnight work. It requires an appropriate approach and collective effort from the different stakeholders, namely the public sector, non-government organizations, the academe, private sector, and of course, the community themselves. In 2011, the Catholic Relief Services, or CRS, an international relief and development agency, Department of Agrarian Reform, and other private institutions forged a partnership to improve the lives of the farmers from Panao in the municipality of Sumilao, Cuarba in Pasugong, and Linabo, Malaybalay City, Bukidnon.
Dili unta mundang gyud ang CRS magtabang sa mga gagmay maguma kay sila ra man gyud wala gilain nga nakaanhi diri sa amo nga nag-introduce ani nga technology.
The project started last July 2011 through collective marketing, and their products were valued properly. Farmers used the production plus market approach, or known as Agro-Enterprise.
Actually, this is a very effective program, unique, one of its kind. This is the first time that we had adopted this, what we call the 8-step clustering approach. So it helps the farmer, not only beneficiaries, but including farmers in the area.
Daghan ang subsidies nga among kuha labi na sa LGU sa mga inputs, mga seeds. O kini ang epekto ani is maka-increase ang income sa farmers kay tungod sa mga subsidy nga gihatag sa gobyerno sa ila.
They are constantly attending training. The possibilities, they will be attending meetings, will be reorganization, they will be more cohesive, they will be more empowered. So, when in terms of their product, they could learn modern farm technology, which will be down to improvement in their income.
Tudluan sila pinaagi sa ining marketing plan. Sa marketing plan o sa farm plan, gituluan sila pagtanom niya, identify o kinsay mo palit sa ilang mga product.
Over the years, CRS has evolved into a development agency that supports programs in peace and reconciliation, emergency response, and agriculture and natural resource management. Aside from DAR, CRS has also incorporated with other institutions like local microfinance institutions, the Department of Agriculture, businesses, organizations like Pakisama for Sumilaw farmers, and Kaani Foundation for Impasugong and Malaybalay farmers. Traditional knowledge in agriculture, backed up with and enhanced with today's farming technologies and approaches, ensures access and development for the farmers in the front line of agro-enterprising.
We want the deliveries to be sustained. We want the deliveries to be scaled up in terms of volume. And then we are going to expand the number of barangays that we are going to serve.
With this partnership with DAR and CRS, we hope that this will be replicated in more ARCs throughout the country.
Being in a country where the agricultural sector dominates, the government has been trying its best to address the problems and concerns relative to how farmers would be able to meet the demands of their produce vis-a-vis the millions of Filipinos depending on their farm products. With the collaboration of the government and humanitarian entities like the CRS and the Department of Agrarian Reform, farmers are now confident that they have allies who are willing to work with them in finding solutions on how to market their produce, particularly on improving their access to modern markets.
Okay, you have just witnessed two videos. They were the precursors, actually, of the clustering approach to agro-enterprise development. With the initial success also, the pilot areas in Bukidnon, the Department of Agrarian Reform poured in a lot of money so that the other places in the country will also be included in the project. And so right now, if I'm not mistaken, they have at least 140 barangays that have been covered by this kind of a project, the clustering approach to agro-enterprise development, and many farmers are being helped with that. Now at this point, I would like to show you what are the steps. What is this clustering approach to agro-enterprise development? The Catholic Relief Services produced a video regarding this 8-step approach to agro-enterprise development through the clustering approach. Let's try to watch this. So I don't have to explain everything. The video will be able to explain the 8-step clustering approach to agro-enterprise. So let's watch this third video.
The agro-enterprise clustering approach is organized as a sequence of 8 steps that farmers go through in a learning by doing manner. The term agro-enterprise refers to the business of organized farmers that actively work with market actors, having relationships with buyers of their products, and business service providers that support the movement of their products in the market chain at a profit. The clustering approach begins with the lead facilitator organizing local partner institutions that are willing to provide the base of support to catalyze and assist the agro-enterprise development process with the farmers. These institutions form a local resource network called the Site Working Group. The product selection and supply assessment is the process of gathering information on farmers' production and marketing conditions to determine the cluster's capacity to supply selected products for the market. Critical production selection and supply assessment includes farming practices for the selected crop, production costs and returns, financiers and financing practices, buyers and buying practices. A market change study is a process to gather information on the market actors, both buyers and BDS providers, their marketing activities, costs and margins, and constraints and opportunities related to the movement of the selected product. The MCS information will help farmers fully understand their market choices and decide which markets to enter, the kind of marketing relationships to establish, and the value addition activities to undertake to earn more income. Cluster commitment setting is the transformation of these small groups into functional business groups. The primary cluster member commitment is an agreement to consolidate their products for collective marketing according to the common Agro-Enterprise plan. At this stage, the facilitator team convinced the clusters to convert the local research team presentation into an agro-enterprise plan supported by an action plan with details of their collective marketing business. An agro-enterprise plan combines the farmers' decisions on what product they will sell, how the product will be marketed, where the supply will come from, how the management will be set up, what the financial requirements will be, what the expected income performance will be, how the income will be allocated. Big buyers often associate buying from smallholder farmers with risk and difficulty. In step 6, the facilitator team assists clusters to reverse this trend between smallholder farmers and big buyers by organizing cluster product supply to ensure that the marketing targets they have set in their agro-enterprise plan will be attained. This process mainly involves coordinating planting and harvesting of cluster members based on the cluster supply plan of the Agro-Enterprise plan, undertaking cluster field monitoring procedures to check on the status of their crops and determine possible effects on supply when problems arise that may damage crops, making a product supply forecast based on the updated product supply status for market negotiations and deliveries. Test marketing is a hands-on learning experience through actual marketing. It provides the clusters valuable lessons in business and builds the confidence of both the clusters and the buyers for the next step, which are sustained enterprises. The facilitator team guides clusters through the 3 sets of activities in test marketing: preparation, actual product deliveries, assessment of test marketing, and improvement of the Agro-Enterprise plan. Test marketing is a real sale to the agreed buyer as specified in the market plan section of the Agro-Enterprise plan. Sustained enterprises is the stage when clusters decide to continue and scale up their agro-enterprise. Sustained enterprises is a transition into 2 stages of agro-enterprise development, continuing and scaling up. The agro-enterprise clustering methodology takes farmers on a journey through which they organize themselves and understand their market opportunity. It is a methodology tailored for small farmers to help them become entrepreneurs in any kind of crop and agricultural market that fits their situation. It recognizes that farmers live in a world of risk and allows farmers themselves to determine what level of risk is appropriate for them. The step-by-step approach offers a structured methodology for practitioners to lead farmers. The methodology requires patience and dedication on the part of the farmers and the organizer to follow each of the 8 steps and ask critical questions at each point.
So that's basically the agro-enterprise, the 8-step clustering approach. 8 steps because there are really definite steps there. Okay, from getting organized to collecting information for business planning, then organizing for collective marketing, and then really planning out the agro-enterprise, the detailed plan, and to be able to bring the products to the market, okay, and to be able and then realize revenues along the way. Okay, so in our own experience, by the way, Glenda Orlanes is here. Glenda has been has been very supportive also in this endeavor, and she has been with us. Glenda is a product also of the College of Agriculture. Okay, and Glenda is still continuing on with her studies at UP Los Baños and doing studies on the clustering approach to agro-enterprise. Okay. Thank you, Glenda, for coming over here in this webinar. Okay. Our own experiences with the agro-enterprise is that it's almost a paradigm shift for the farmers to be able to understand the business dynamics of how they produce and how they market. Okay, and that's why this is a long process. This is not just an overnight process. Our experience would tell us this will go on until 12 months, 1 year. 1 year. Most of the projects that we have implemented in the past, the delivery of the products would come at least 6 to 8 months, okay, 6 to 8 months after the start of the project, and it's quite long, but there is patience there. You really need to transform the perspectives of the farmers, otherwise they're not going to believe it. Okay, so and along the way even just the choice of the product will be made by the farmers. What markets to penetrate, they will be made by the farmers themselves. And we allowed the farmers to go to the markets, supermarkets, to corporations, and interview people there. And we really allow them to experience firsthand how and what it is to get engaged with these people. Siyempre, nahihiya yung mga farmers, but after some time, medyo nasanay na rin. Okay, nasanay na rin. Until eventually, they were able to collect the produce and market the produce. Okay? So this is still happening right now. This is happening with Jollibee. This is happening in the many areas of the country, including Cebu. Cebu now, Lamak Multipurpose Cooperative, for instance. I don't have a video with from them. Lamak Multipurpose Cooperative, the farmers there are supplying assorted vegetables for Jollibee on Chowking. Okay, on Chowking. We visited that place lately together with Ma'am Chari Musqueda, and we experienced firsthand how they did things, and they collected and then they weigh, and it's a modern way of doing things. But they came from the small farmers, from the rural areas of Cebu. Okay. And also other places now, because of the Department of Agrarian Reform project, which is really the clustering approach. So many things are happening until now, and I'm still very supportive with the agrarian reform. I am being called once in a while as a consultant and also as a priest. I try to inspire them to really embrace the clustering approach. What is really one highlight of the clustering approach is really the groups of farmers, the clusters of farmers. If you're not going to cluster them, it's really difficult to organize them. It depends. If there is already a cooperative existing, it will help. Sometimes certain situations, they don't have cooperatives, but they band together and they form clusters. Whatever way, for as long as these groups of farmers become clusters, and these clusters will be the ones to really engage in the markets. And so what we have experienced so far is it really needs a lot of commitment on the part of minsan kasi sa mga farmers, they want yung automatic, yung mabilisan. Hindi pwede mabilisan eh. Kailangan dahan-dahan. And also this kind of an approach, it needs a lot of support from other entities, from the NGO, from the government. The government has lots of resources to offer, and if we are only able to access those resources, they will give us. And if the farmers are only organized, and if the farmers are only connected to the markets, the government through the Department of Agrarian Reform, the Department of Agriculture, the DOST, DTI included, they are willing to support the small farmers. Basta mayroon lang organization, basta mayroon lang productivity on the part of the farmers. And the local government units, they are very instrumental in really building up sustainable livelihoods for our small farmers. Otherwise, our small farmers will just be marginalized farmers. No one is helping them. Secondly, we can promote this new mindset, okay, among the farmers and the community. This is really possible. Jollibee Foods with the Kalasig farmers, it has been done. Okay, if you are able to, to go to Jollibee and order burger, chances are inside that burger patty that contains onions, and those onions are coming from the small farmers. If you happen to buy something from from a pizza, yung meron silang nilalagyan na ng statement doon from in the box. I think it's Pizza Hut. Meron ng statement doon that the ingredients for this pizza are coming from the small farmers. And true, they are really true. It's not just for marketing purposes. Many vegetables required by Jollibee Foods Corporation are now coming from our very own small farmers. Okay? So this is really possible. Okay, and this is only possible if our own farmers are open to learn. Okay, minsan kasi gusto mag-shortcut, but we were telling them hindi pwede ng shortcut. Let's learn and let's be patient. And most importantly, there will be failures. There will be disappointments. There will be setbacks. But if you are really a true entrepreneur, you are not going to be bogged down by the failures. After the failure, a real entrepreneur is going to learn from the failure and move on, move forward. Okay, move forward. That is really the character of the entrepreneur. To initiate new things, to be open to realities, to embrace the uncharted territories. And this is what we are also telling our farmers. Medyo may failure tayo minsan, pero we have to continue on. Okay? We have to continue. Again, this clustering approach is really centered on the journey of the farmers. Okay? And the LGUs, the academe are only facilitators. We need the academe, because even though we may say they have been tilling the land for 40 years, those farmers still need a lot of assistance in terms of information on how to grow vegetables well. They need so much information so that they can improve their production, and the academe can really help them. Also, in terms of business development, the academe can help them. And our organized farmers along the way will be able to learn many things: markets, business relationships, effective product consolidation, business and financial management skills. Okay? One of the experiences which Mr. Dison of Kalasag Farmers Cooperative was sharing to us was that the very first time they met the purchasing people of Jollibee Foods Corporation, they were asked by this particular question: how much cost is entailed to produce a kilo of onion? Yung mga farmers, sina Mr. Dison, nakatanga na lang. Sabi nila, parang ganito yun po. Parang ang Jollibee Foods Corporation, the people there said, no, we cannot engage with you if you are like this. You go back to the field, you compute the cost, and tell us how much money you will have to spend for a kilo of onions when you are going to bring it here. Because our buying price, the buying price of Jollibee, will depend on how much is the cost of your production. Because Jollibee will buy the onions more than the cost of production, because the additional funds there would become the surplus for the farmers. And so a week after they came back and they said, sir, Na-compute na po namin lahat. Ang total po is 19 pesos and 50 centavos ang isang kilo ng sibuyas. Yan po ang production cost. Pati labor na po yan. And Jollibee was happy. And they were accepted as supplier to the commissary of Jollibee. Ganon nangyayari. We have to allow new learnings, new teachings to be absorbed by our own farmers, especially cost planning, trying to determine how much is really entailed in the production of their products. Also, very important, they really have to commit to their responsibilities, cluster meetings, cluster activities, and the sharing of their own resources for their clusters. Okay? It's a farmer's approach. We have to facilitate, we need to inspire them, we need to motivate, because the whole process is really involved ang mga farmers dito. We are just at the background. Okay? So we are just in the background. Again, the clustering approach, it takes a lot of practical thinking and hard work. The approach is just a roadmap. Okay, it will guide you there, but along the way there will be setbacks, challenges. Many things are going to be experienced by the farmers. Okay? And true enough, until now, they are still going on with this project, with this kind of an approach. And the next two videos will show you where we are right now. The two videos were produced by the Department of Agrarian Reform with the participants of the project. Okay, so let's now, that's my way of ending also. Let's watch and listen to the two remaining videos. Video number 4 and video number 5, which is the video number 4 is about vegetables, and the last video is about bananas. Okay, I chose these videos because mga Bisaya ni sila, mga Bisaya. So let's now watch and listen to the videos.
Kami bilang isa ka mag-uuma, lisod gyud kayo ang among panginabuhi diri. Buntag pa jud kayo mi mumata alang maghikay alang sa among mga kabataan sa pagpaeskwela. Buntag pa kayo mi muadto sa amo ang uma aron dako usab kami og maagi. Karon kay wala man siya nagaulan, okay pa, pero kung mag-ulan gani portidyong lisura ang amo nga dalan. Ang amo ang produkto, amo lang na siyang karyadahon hangtod mag-abot dito sa maong truck nga among kargahan padulong sa lungsod. Kalabanan diri aduna kami trader, mao kana siya ang magpinansing sa among uma. So ang among pananom gulay dili kami makabaligya ngadto sa iban kay aduna kami giutangan.
Tungod sa mga babag sa paglambo sa ato mga farmers mo nang natay Links Farm Project, kari nga proyekto ato ang ginatinguha nga matabangan nato ang mga farmer nga madungagan ang ilahang household income pinaagi sa pag-implement ni aning Agro-Enterprise nga gasunod sa 8-step clustering approach. Kini nga pamaagi atong gina-assist or gina-facilitate ang mga farmers sa pag-organize sa ilaha into clusters, sa pag-provide sa ilaha sa mga technical trainings or sa paghatag sa mga pagtulunan sa ilaha, sa pag-assist sa ilaha sa paghimo og mga plano nga ilahang gamiton sa ilahang pagpanguma, sa pag-implement sa mga plano nga ato ang nahimo para sa ilahang himuon nga agro-enterprise, pag-assist sa ilaha nga ilahang ma-consolidate ang ilahang mga produkto og ma-deliver ngadto sa ato ang napili nga buyer, og ang pag-sustain sa mong napili nila nga agro-enterprise. Kini nga project mo ang ato ang gina-implement karon sa Agrarian Reform Community nga Malungon 1 ug Dabidaba sa munisipyo sa Malungon. Ang ato ang mga kaubanan nga arbo nga napili para sa mga project mo ang Alkikan Vegetable Growers Association, ang Datalbila People's Organization, ang Malungon Integrated Vegetable Growers Association ug ang Datalbatong Farmers Association.
Malungon is one of the municipalities of Sarangani Province. It is the only landlocked municipality in the entire province. 10% of the population in Malungon is engaged in trading. The rest of that is engaged in farming. Diyan sa Alquican, Datalbila, and Datalbatong, masok itong proyekto ng Links Farm.
Pagsulod diri sa Links Farm, nalipay kami kay isip o sa kagagmay nga mag-uumag, itudloan kami nila nga maghimo og cluster. Ang membro sa among cluster is 10 to 15 ka mga membro. Og dayon kana sila gitudloan namo kung unsa pag collective marketing.
Gitudloan kami sang DAR sa Links Farm pagi sa clustering approach sa pagplano, pa grupo. May tatlo may adtuan, ang una ang Gintona, ang KCC, tapos ang Alson. Ang priority namin ginabligya, talong. Tapos para hindi kami malugi sa tracking, isa na ng gulay, mga atsal, carrots, sitaw, palawan, kamatis, basta anong available sa farm. Sa first test marketing medyo naglisod pa, pero in the long run, ka-adjustment. Karon do, simple na kayo, do nakabisado no ba?
Ang akong trabaho sa asosasyon mao ang pagmonitor sa mga tanom sa area dire nga sa diin sakop sa amo asosasyon bikan sa pagpatanom kag stanga sa pag-harvest para ma-monitor namo kung naa na ba harvest o paninghaon gid namo nga ma-supplyan gid ang gikinahanglan sa Gintona kay bisag unsa nga adlaw sa nga panahon sila aduna gid sila demand nga atong tagaan sa volume o sa good quality ang Gintona para okay pod ang ilang pag-support sa pagpalit sa among mga gulay.
Century Company started in Taguig and it was transferred in General Santos because of the supply of fish was abundant in General Santos. Our volume requirements for vegetables like carrots is about 25 to 30 metric tons per month and bell pepper is almost the same. We utilize those products from the farm because we have a lot of products that requires some vegetables. Some of them requires bell pepper, some of them requires carrots. As a company, we also would like to see our farmers in the community to have a better life.
Sa karon nag-anak man sa daghan kay dati ang ilang natanom mais, karon kay nakita lang mas dako income ang gulay. Ningganyo na po sila magtanom sa gulay. Dati itong mula pang Links Farm project, ang bawat farmers kanya-kanya deliver. Mas lugi sila sa tracking, wala sila sa permanenteng buyer. Kung sino itong saka magbakal sa among gulay, ito mag-deliver.
Ang gibati namo o kalipay kay imbis nga sa unad wala mi kasulod sa mga dagko nga buyer karon nakasulod nami mo nang nalipay nami imbis nga individual nagkakiisa na kami.
The test marketing for the Links Farm project started last December 2017. And as of April 2018, our partner farmers have already made 6 deliveries to KCC Mall of Jensan and 3 deliveries to Century Pacific Food Incorporated. And for that period, they were able to collectively market 590 kilograms of eggplant to KCC Mall and 10 tons carrots and 3.3 tons sweet pepper to Century Pacific Food Incorporated. Through the monitoring of our Agro-Enterprise facilitators, we found out that there is an approximately 25% increase in income for eggplant, 16% increase in the income for sweet pepper, and 40% increase in income for carrots due to the collective marketing activity. The farmers were able to earn 354,000 gross income and 189,000 net income. For our partners, such as KCC Mall of Jensen and Century Pacific Food, we would like to thank you for accepting our farmers as your partners in this process of marketing.
Tuwang-tuwa yung mga farmers natin dahil yung production nila na binibenta sa local trading lamang dito sa munisipyo, nagkaroon na ng market at na-open yung opportunities na makabenta sila outside Malungon. Nakakatulong ito sa pag-alleviate ng munisipyo sa kahirapan ng taga-Malungon.
And we are with you in hoping na this will go a long way, and in that way we can help not only this farmer but more farmers.
Og dinha kami nadasig nga amo gyud ayuhon ang among pagtanom aron ang feedback sa amoa maayo.
Ako ang among pagpasalamat sa mga facilitator, sa taga-DAR kag sa LGU nga sa diin kung wala sila dili siguro maing-ani karon.
Sa Links Farm Project dili lang kita usa ka simpleng mag-uuma, kundi isa ka negosyanteng mag-uuma.
On the island of Mindanao, the southern tip of Cotabato Province is noted for its rich history, unique culture, and temperate climate throughout the year. Situated in the highlands of Tulunan and characterized by undesirable and hazardous road conditions, Barangay Bakong's fertile land produced quality Cardava bananas. For decades, the Blaan, farmers of Bakong, still rely on traditional banana farming and marketing practices. Lack of awareness about modern innovations and limited access to market information translate into low volume and quality of banana harvests. Consequently, selling their organic produce to traders at very low prices. In 2015, Blaan farmers were introduced to the Links Farm project. The project has a sequence of 8 steps, ascending toward agro-enterprise development. The project mobilizes the involved community into clusters.
Ako si Mario Nue, nga usa ka mag-uuma sa saging. Ang among gipokus nga tanom saging kay tungod dali ra trabahoon. Aduna lagi depekto sa among pagtanom. Tibagnol, alquiris, bisag unsa gyud namong paningkamot sa mga saging, gamay ra gyud kay mig maharbis. Dihang naabot na ang Links Farm project, so dako gyud kay kausaban. Kay tungod ang ginatudlo sa amo yung gitun-an, so akong gigamit sa ako ang sagingan.
So ang Links Farm project, ang main goal ani is to help our farmers nga mahimo sila gyud ang mag-inegosyo nila ang ilahang pag-uma. Tungod kay ang ato ang mga project nga mga milabay more on production, ang kani siya nga project is more on marketing. Ang ultimate goal jud ani nga project is to give a better quality of life sa ato ang mga ARBs, atong ginatawag na agrarian reform beneficiaries.
Ang pagsugod sa project under the CRS program, unsaon namo pagpaintindi sa ilaha ang proyekto nga masabtan jud nilang tarong. Ang attitude man gud nila is to see is to believe. Ang approach namo isa sa among innovation, maka-conduct mi og orientation sa daghang tao is adtoon jud namo sila sitio per sitio.
Sa Links Farm project namo, nalipay kaayo mi kay naay mga seminar, training nga gihatag. Dako siya katabang sa mua. Pinaagi ni ana nga mga training. Among nakit-an nga dako siya kalambuan. O pinaagi sa Links Farm project ni padayon og barug ang amoang organization.
So ang gina-train sa amo pong ginahimo, so among gi-apply sa amo ang saging, pagkuwag hunas, panghimuso ug paghilo sa punuan nga kuhaon ang mga daot nga paklang sa saging. So dili kay ibutang sa punuan kay mao ito makahatag og insecticide sa mao nga saging. So sada na nga among nahimo, so nindot kay epekto, dagko ang saging, bugat og hamis tan-aon. Pag-abot sa Liberty Fruits, ang presyo sa among saging adunay class A, adunay class B. Sa unang panahon gamay pa may maharbis, pero karon adunay kausaban ang 15 kaniadto, karon may 25 na ngadto sa 30 ang isa ka bulig.
Kami sa Liberty Fruits nakipag-partner mi sa Bakong farmers tungod sa kalidad sa ilahang kardaba nga saging. Nakita pod namo ang solid nga suporta sa DAR sa ilaha.
So mo na naka-nindot kay ang dagko taas po presyo, ang gamay po presyo.
Gusto pod namo ihatag sa ilaha ang sakto nga presyo para makuha gyud nila unsa ang para sa ilaha. Mapadayon ug mapalig-on pa ang partnership sa Liberty Fruits ug Bakong farmers ug ma-maintain nila ang kalidad nga produkto nga pasado sa among quality standards.
Ang ako alang kasulti sa mao nga bagong merkado nga nakatabang namo og nakaling kawas, nakahatag namo mga presyo. So daghan kayong salamat.
Katong wala pa sila naka-deliver, nakita dyan ako ilang panginabuhi. Ang ilang mga balay, ang kalakat lang, ang atop, kugon. Sugad atong nag-deliver na sila, nga naka-income na ang ilang organization. Namalit na og mga materialis, sementado na, nanaysin, og kaya na nila ipadalag eskwelahan ng ilang mga anak.
Dako ko pasalamat sa CRS, sa ilahang mga pag-training sa amoa, mga seminar nga gitudlo sa amoa. So nakadugang siya sa amoang pagpanguma. So nakita gyud namo ang kalambuan, labi na sa DAR. Sa ilahan ni Mambet, especially ilan ni Sir Maki, sila ang nagiging giya or gihatag sa Ginoo sa amoa para makabot jud namo kini nga kadaugan.
Over 300 farmers have improved their monthly yield. Through this partnership, over 141,000 kilos have been collectively delivered to market, a net income of 822,000 pesos. The introduction of better production technologies, with an emphasis on value, has ensured that farmers get better returns. The Department of Agrarian Reform and Catholic Relief Services, working together with the smallholder farmers of North Cotabato, restoring the agricultural lifeblood of the region.
Okay, that's I will end there so that we can have more time for discussion.
Okay, so a question from Mr. Kilian Sumbilon de Veza. So he said, to whom are we going to talk in order to forge partnership with CRS? So maybe Father Rene can answer this question.
Okay, the agriculture section, unfortunately, the agriculture section of the Catholic Relief Services has folded up because they don't have enough funds right now. The funds are being funneled through rescue operations, relief operations, especially in terms of disaster, and then post-war reconstruction for Marawi. All those things, they are into it. The original people with whom I have been working with since 2008 under the Catholic Relief Services, they are now gone. But the Department of Agrarian Reform is continuing on. And Jollibee Foods Corporation, through the Jollibee Foods Foundation, is also ongoing. They have projects in Luzon and projects in Cebu. How to connect? I cannot really answer that right now. But I think the clustering approach, if I'm not mistaken, has been uploaded somewhere in the internet. We have plenty of copies in Sir Sulin office right now. We have produced those copies. We paid a lot so that it will be produced and given to interested farmers. I'm sorry to tell, again, the Agriculture Department of Catholic Relief Services have folded up in favor of focusing their energies to relief rescue operations, rehabilitation operations.
Thank you so much, Father Rene, and I hope that cleared up the question from Mr. Kilian. So finally, we will have a reaction from a third-year BS Agribusiness student of Xavier University College of Agriculture, Mr. Neil Dave Suarez. So this is his realization. From what I know, farmers always been a risk to financial management. It is clear of my understanding that the clustering approach solves farmers' constraints to 1. Access to affordable capital. Number 2, access to market information. Number 3, business skills. Number 4, infrastructure support. And number 5, organization support. Therefore, I realize that through this approach, a systematic process of preparing farmers for group marketing is possible and applicable. This ensures increase in sales, paid loans, and guards their hard-earned money. My question would be, in conducting the approach, what does it require, or how will the facilitators attain flexibility or adaptation according to the needs, capacities, and resources of the farmers?
Situations actually differ in most instances, but correct. The farmers are at a disadvantage because they have nothing: capital, infrastructures, connections, markets. We begin with what is doable. Okay, with what is doable. For instance, if it's markets, let's say for instance the carrot producers in Jensen, they were connected to Century Tuna because Century Tuna needs carrots. The procedures there, the process there was gamay-gamay lang sa. But after, let's say, after the first harvest and the first delivery, then whatever revenue that was generated from the first marketing, it will be plowed back to another season of production. So it's something like that. But other farmers, they have to be connected to yung mga microfinance institutions. It's quite risky. We believe it's quite risky because our own experience would tell us that kaniadto walay project, walay utang ang mga farmers. Katong nagkaroon ng project na dagkong utang ang mga farmers. It's very risky. Kung dili makabayad ang mga farmers, kailangan talaga yun, hahabulin sila ng microfinance. The trick there is for as long as there is an assured buyer with an assured price, okay, so much so that whatever produce, okay, whatever vegetables that are produced will be turned over to the buyer in exchange for the revenues. Yung ganun ba? Kung ganun ang mangyayari, there is an assured buyer, mabawasan yung risk sa microfinance. Our experience, yung nanghihiram sila ng mga 30,000, 40,000. It looks like ang maliit naman yan, 30,000. But for small farmers, nakakatakot na yan na amount, na 30,000. Unsaon na mo pagbayad ng 30,000 or 50,000. Yung mga ganun ba? Kasi hindi sila sanay sa yung paramihan. So slowly you introduce those things to them. Never rush. If there is a risk, okay, chances are farmers are averse to risk. Okay, they would not want those risks. So in the process, in terms of facilitation, we should be able to reduce the risk so much so that the farmers are able to produce more and more over time. Sa simula, pakunti pa, pero in the future, once there is an assured market, things will do well. And in fact, some of the microfinance would want to give out loans for as long as there is an assured market, for as long as there is a supply cluster plan, for as long as there is a agro-enterprise plan, for as long as there is a definite a system of processes and procedures that will bring the products from the farm to the market. They are most willing to do that. And we are happy that they are contributing to that. they are supporting us. Thank you.